Hello there, I'm Todd Grisham. He holds the UFC record for most consecutive victories, most consecutive title defenses, and is considered the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. I'm speaking, of course, about Anderson Silva. He squares off against Chris Weidman this Saturday at UFC 162 for the UFC Middleweight Championship. Anderson, it's been 9 months since you've been in the cage. How are you feeling right now after that long layoff, and how excited are you to fight Chris?
I'm very good. I'm very excited for this fight.
How much of a threat do you consider Chris Weidman to be to your championship?
Chris have the good jiu-jitsu, good wrestling, and good stand-up. The fight is the fight. I'm ready for this because Chris have the chance for the belt. I'm working hard. Chris working hard. But it's good for fans.
Where does Chris Weidman rank amongst your opponents?
I don't know. Chris is the #1 contender now. You got your chance for the belt. That's it.
What specifically about Chris Weidman's game do you have to be most aware of?
Nothing. I working hard. Chris have the good wrestling and good stand-up, but I train hard for this fight. I train for a lot of difficult stand-up and the ground, all of us.
Yeah, Chael Sonnen, who's also obviously a wrestler, gave you a tough time, but you did beat him twice. How do you plan to deal with Weidman, who's so good at grounding his opponents?
The same formats I working for the older guys, for the older fighters.
If you beat Weidman, you're even closer to passing Randy Couture and Chuck Liddell on the UFC all-time win list. How important is that list to you?
It's one more fight. For me, it's not too much important because I working hard for start my legacy. I'm working hard for the past, for the message, for the new students, for kids. This is more important for me.
UFC President Dana White confirmed today that the plan for UFC's 20th anniversary was to have a fight at Madison Square Garden between you and Jon Jones. Was that a fight you would have taken if Dana had asked you to compete in it?
It's possible because it's the great fight in the story of the MMA.
And everyone, of course, you're concerned about Chris Weidman this upcoming week, but every time you do an interview, I'm sure someone like me asks you about Jon Jones or George St-Pierre. Those are both super fights. Which one of those opponents would you match up best with?
Maybe me and Jon Jones, because it's Jon Jones have the good stand-up, this good fighter, and George St-Pierre, I don't know. I don't know. My opinion, George St-Pierre is no good.
George St-Pierre is no good. Is that what I heard you say?
It's the good question. George St-Pierre is good in new class, but for fight, to me, I don't know. Maybe George St-Pierre say, I don't have plans for fight for Anderson. And my opinion, George St-Pierre don't like the fight, the idea, the fight together me. I fight for Jon Jones say, hey, are you ready for Anderson? I'm ready for working for UFC. I'm ready for fight for Jon Jones. George St-Pierre is in the next plan.
Gotcha. I've also heard you mention the name Roy Jones Jr. What's your fascination with him, and would you really like to fight him?
Yeah, this is my great goal, my big goal in my life. I'm training hard for a long time for this fight for Roy Jones and the box. I like the boxing, the Roy Jones. I'm the big fan, and this is my dream, my big goal, and my dream for the sports, the fight for Roy Jones Jr.
How strong is your boxing? Obviously, you're a great overall, well-rounded mixed martial artist. Do you consider yourself an elite boxer?
No, but I train hard. I have the chance for fight for Roy Jones. I don't know for win, but I train hard. I need you to test me for this fight for Roy Jones.
Well, we'll see if it ever happens. Anderson Silva versus Roy Jones, Anderson Silva versus George St-Pierre, Anderson Silva versus Jon Jones. So many possibilities, but one thing is for certain. This Saturday, you'll be squaring off against Chris Weidman. Anderson, thanks for your time and good luck.
Welcome.